Side-scrolling futuristic action! Set in the year 2030, a military group called Metal Command wanna take over the world. You play as Steve Herman, with two ends, a police officer from the Bronx who loses both his arms fighting Metal Command. Herman is offered replacement cybernetic arms by the Law and Order Regulatory Division, also known as LORD. Herman accepts the offer and becomes Agent Shatterhand, who is now tasked with the mission to defeat all of Metal Command.
Sounds like a pretty interesting game. Well, if you're thinking about giving Shatterhand on the NES a try, trust me, you will not be disappointed.
This is one of those games that if you played as a kid, you rented it from the video store, tried it, and were blown away. It has really impressive graphics for its time, the OST is good, and it's pretty darn challenging. If you were to play this game today, you'd kick yourself for missing out on a heck of a hidden gem here.
So you're probably wondering where the name Shatterhand came from. Well, I have only one theory, and that's that it probably came from Dr. Gertrude Shatterhand, the name of Ernst Stavro Blofeld from the James Bond films.
The character's going around smacking everyone with his fists instead of using weapons. The only time he does have a weapon is when these robots appear. They're called robotic satellites in the game.
It's interesting to note that Shatterhand is a modified version from its Japanese counterpart. See, in Japan there used to be a show called Tokyo Shirei Soul Brain, which basically translates to Super Rescue Soul Brain.
The show resembled Power Rangers in a way, with people summoning power suits to fight the forces of evil.
Anyway, the game was made on the Famicom for the show of the same name.
The main character more closely resembles the characters in the show. Besides the aesthetic differences between the two games, there isn't much of a difference between them. In Shatterhand, power-ups are labeled by Greek letters of the alphabet, while in Tokyo Shirei Soul Brain, they're represented by the letter P. The Famicom version has a suit from the show, while Steve Herman has regular clothes. Also, the Famicom version had a carnival stage, while the NES version removed it and replaced it with a submarine stage. I guess a carnival was just too juvenile for American developers.
Whichever way you look at it, this game is cool.
In the first stage, you're making your way around what appears to be a factory. Power-ups, again, are labeled by Greek letters, the A meaning alpha and B meaning beta. Do these have a secret meaning? In any case, once you collect 3 of these power-ups, a robotic satellite will appear and assist you in navigating throughout the stage. The combination of the letters that you got determine what power your robotic satellite is going to have. There are 8 different robotic satellites in total. Your robotic satellite takes damage from enemies. While they don't have a life bar, they begin to flash whenever their life is low. Afterwards, they just disappear. They can also lift you up. You do this by crouching and holding down the A button. If you press the B button, you throw them. This can come in handy because if you want to navigate in a certain area and not lose your robotic friend, you can throw them and kill the bad guys before the satellite comes back. Oftentimes, you'll find power-ups in the form of platforms, but they aren't free. You collect coins throughout the game, and you use those to purchase the different power-ups. Whenever Steve buys a power-up, his vest changes color. There are also medical power-ups to heal your life. Enemies consist of guys in suits, robots, and these capsule things here that drop more enemies on the screen. Towards the end of the stage, you step on this teleporter which will send you to fight the boss of each level. The first boss here has a pattern. Once you learn it, he shouldn't be a problem. From there, the game then goes into stage select style, where you have to choose which stage, all known as areas, to go to. Each area has its own difficulty level, style of enemies, design, and bosses to defeat. The bosses range from twin robots that turn into centipedes when you kill them, a poltergeist looking enemy, a boss that swings side to side, another one with a sword, and finally, this guy here. He actually bears a resemblance to the first boss in the Batman game on the NES. After you take care of all the bosses, this happens.
When you see something like that, you know it just got real. You've angered those in power that just wanted you to shut off the game. They brought out their secret weapon in a last-ditch effort to stop you from completing the game. True story.
This last stage is as horrific as it gets. Enemies and traps are all over. You have to fight all the bosses one after another, Mega Man 1 style. If you die here, you have to start all the way from the beginning. Sure, there are health power-ups available, but expect to die, and die, and die some more. Oh, I made it all the way to the last boss. He's not so hard, but I have very little life left. I'm putting up a valiant effort. So yeah, I navigate through the whole stage, beat all the bosses again, make it to the last boss, and then I beat him and I get my end screen.
But I'm not happy. I'm not gonna gloat that I just beat a difficult game. You know what I'm gonna do? Absolutely nothing. There's your review. Bye bye. Get the heck out of my room.